Hi there Commanders, and welcome back to Spacefaring Chronicles. So in today's video I'm sharing something a little bit different, and honestly something that's actually really special to me. I recently sat down with my 12-year-old son who's just taken his first steps into the galaxy of Elite Dangerous, and we talked about the types of games that he's played growing up and what's drawn him to Elite Dangerous in the first place, and what it felt like to launch into space for the very first time. During the recording, a couple of curious commanders even dropped by to say hello. A perfect reminder of how vibrant and welcoming this universe can be. Just a quick heads up, at a few points you might notice a slight echo on my son's voice. We discovered afterwards that one of the OBS scenes had a small audio glitch, but we decided to keep the original moment, echo and all, because it captured the real spirit of that conversation. Watching his reactions was a real eye-opener, and I think it might just rekindle some memories of your own first flight as well. So please enjoy. So, hi Benny.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So, obviously you've started to play Elite Dangerous. You started last weekend. Do you want to just introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about what sort of games you I guess you've played in the past?
Yeah, so I've played Fortnite, I've played Roblox, I have played Wobbly Life, I've played quite a few games. Elite Dangerous being one of them quite recently.
Yeah, so you obviously started that last weekend. So,
yeah,
obviously you've seen me play Elite Dangerous over the years. What were your thoughts on it prior to obviously starting to play it?
I've always thought that doesn't look like a great game. That's like I thought it used to look really confusing.
Okay.
But now that I'm playing it, I'm really enjoying it, and I think it's really, really fun, and it's not as hard as I thought it would be.
So would you say that your initial thoughts were that it just looked too does it look too confusing?
Yeah, it just looked really complex with all the buttons and everything, man.
Okay, no,
yeah,
and I think that's a common thing, right? That when you start to play it, it's got quite a steep learning curve because the sheer number of controls it's a bit overwhelming. So it's one of those things it's that initial thing you've got to get over when you're playing it, right? So I guess what made you decide to give the game a go?
You forcing me?
I didn't really force you. You came basically. So what happened was you came to me and said, "Daddy, I'm bored. Got nothing to do." And we went through all the normal things that you'd normally do. Didn't want to, so I just made the suggestion. Said, "Why don't you give Elite Dangerous a go?"
And then I go, "But I'm bored." And then you go, "But like, oh yeah, why don't you just play it?" And I'm like, "But I'm not that bored."
Right. Okay.
But I think it's not as bad as I thought it would be. It's actually really fun.
Good. Okay. Well, I think that's the whole point, isn't it? Once you give something a go, you can find out what it's all about. I guess you started last weekend, and when you installed the game, I know we had a bit of an issue with the Steam keys, etc. But we got that sorted pretty quickly. I guess the first thing that happens then is you do the tutorials, and there's kind of like two tutorials, isn't there? You've got the kind of on foot mission, and then you've got the bit where you you learn how to sort of fly your ship, etc. with all the basics. How did you find the tutorials? Did they help you to get started, or do you think they could be better?
I mean, for starting out, I think they're quite good, but what I think is that they could be better. They really could be a little bit better, but they were good for what they are. But the one thing I thought, like, there could be more missions in it. Like, I know there's like the on foot one, like at the start, but I think there could be like more missions, because like when you start off, I feel like you should be able to do like not like a mission like that, but like other missions to like help you, like not all of them, like all the different sorts of ones, but like maybe like a few other missions to help you, like be like, oh, this is what you do in this case, this is what you do, like, oh, you do the navigation stuff and all that. So I think you could do that. And as well, the guy at the start, it felt like a whole story there, and I feel like they should have continued that story instead of like saying, oh yeah, how about you land here, and then I never see him again.
Right, okay, now I hear you, and I think that's quite a common thing, that when people start the game, right, they struggle with kind of getting into like what it's all about. And I think I do think the two missions that you do, or the two tutorials that you kind of do kind of help massively. I mean, I remember when the game first came out, and they didn't even really have that. And so I think
controls feel like really, really lanky though. On controller they just don't feel that smooth, you know.
Well, I think that's experience more than anything. But so, yeah. Look, I think I hear what you're saying. I kind of agree that I think they could extend out that kind of whole tutorial thing a little bit, and give people,
like, you know how there's like private sessions stuff, like open play. I feel like when you like go into the game, like when you go in, obviously into the game, when you go in there and it said like what you want to do, like a private session, open play, whatever you want, there should be another one like right at the end that says story.
Okay,
I feel like
I think that's not a bad suggestion. I think that would help people to kind of initially get started. Yeah, look, I kind of agree. I think the tutorial maybe could be extended out a little bit, and as you say, if you wanted to carry on the story, you could do.
Yeah, because there could be so many opportunities with the story.
So I think, but the whole point behind the Elite game isn't so much that you have a story to
do
play.
What you want.
Yeah, so you know, if you go back.
But like the whole game is about open play and stuff like that. But then, there could it wouldn't be about the whole game, but there could be a story tab. Like you didn't have to do it, but there could be one like as like a multi-choice. So you could do either like play and like explore on your own, or like you could do stories.
Okay. Now look, I hear what you're saying. I think I kind of agree.
Because I think they could have so many opportunities with that.
Yeah. Okay. No, look, I hear you. So the thing I guess I'd say about that is that, you know, if you're looking at the game, so if you go back to like the original Elite game on the BBC Micro in the 80s, right? When that first came out, I think it confused a lot of people back then because they'd never seen a game quite like that before. So they're called open world games, and the idea is that whereas like games that you've played in the past that may have a bit of a storyline to it, or sort of specific missions that you've got to go and do, they don't really have. Elite has never been about that. It's been about they give you literally they give you a ship and options of different things you can kind of go and do, and you go off and you do that, and the idea really is you kind of almost create your own stories, you know, and that's the whole open world nature of it. And I think you've not had that opportunity really before now to play that sort of game, and I think this is the first time you kind of played that, so it takes a bit of I think it takes a mind shift to sort of when you're not used to that sort of game. To
like normal like story games are fun, but then like you're limited on what you could do.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and this is the point.
Like I like open world games are really fun because then you've got them like Lego games that are like they have you can play out through the stories of like anything, and then they've also got like open world where you can just walk around the places that you've explored during the story, which is cool.
Yeah.
It really games like that. So
yeah, no, exactly. So yeah, I think obviously this is your first time of playing an open world game, and it's quite a big open world game to play as well. I guess.
Didn't you say we've only discovered like 1.4% of the galaxy?
I think it's even less than that, to be honest with you.
That's mental.
Exactly. It is a big universe to explore, which is great because there's lots of opportunities for us to go out and explore.
I don't think anyone's going to explore any higher than 15% in about 45 years.
You reckon? I don't know. It's an interesting one. So, what was the hardest part of starting to play the game for you?
I don't know. I don't think there was any hard points, to be fair. It felt pretty easy. Like, it didn't feel hard at all.
There's a guy who's just appeared behind us in the bar, and he's just like wandering around. He's clearly not an NPC.
Oh.
So that's quite funny.
Hello. Wait, I want to wave at him. I want to give him a wave. Oh, can't wave.
Oh, it's quite funny.
His name is Commander Twin Towers. That's what it looks like.
Right, that's a bit of a dodgy name, potentially.
No, not like that, but like, no, look. It's just a bunch of weird emojis.
clapping.
It's clapping, nice. Okay, so yeah, so you don't think there's the hardest part to playing the game?
No, it felt pretty easy.
Is that all aspects of it, or just certain aspects of it? Like, because obviously you've got like the on-foot stuff, you've got the driving, the SRV, you've got the flying the ship.
I really liked the SRV thing because
When I was on Chamberlain's Rest, I was driving around outside when I didn't know I could.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me. I didn't quite realise that when you docked a big settlement like that you could actually disembark on your SRV and drive around the spaceport. That was actually quite a...
Where did he go?
Quite a surprise. He just wandered off.
No.
So,
I see him. He's running around.
what was the thing that I guess you've enjoyed the most about playing the game so far?
The freedom. The freedom to do what I want.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I like that.
I know there's like different alliances, like the whatever, the ones that you told me about, but I feel like there should be a bit more.
You're talking a little bit about what you've enjoyed playing the most.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think what's exciting for me is, I mean, obviously you say there's no storyline, etc., which is kind of true, but the whole kind of like Elite Dangerous universe does have a kind of like a backstory, and there's like what we call a lore, as in sort of like what's happened in the past. And I think when you get into the game, it's quite interesting to explore that a little bit, because it kind of gives you an idea as to why things are the way they are. So, you know, the way you can do that is, you know, back in the 80s when that original game came out, you know, I've showed you the box, right, with all the stuff in it. One of the things that it had was a novel called The Dark Wheel, which, you know, it's not a long story, but the whole point behind The Dark Wheel was that it gave people an idea as to sort of the universe that they were kind of playing in, and there is kind of like a backstory kind of going on, and I think that's quite useful to explore. So, you know, you've got The Dark Wheel that you could read, and then there are two sort of official novels that were kind of written when the game first came out by a guy called Drew Wagner or Drew Wagner. I can't remember how you pronounce his name, but there's a book called Reclamation and then a book called Premonition, and that will give you more. Again, it's a story set in the Elite Dangerous universe, but it kind of sets the kind of background a little bit, and it introduces to like they've got that different factions, like you've got like the Federation and the Alliance and the Empire, and they all have like slightly different aspects to how they are, right? So, you know, you've got all that to kind of explore and to kind of get into, and that will feed in a little bit into how you play the game. So is this the same guy coming back again?
Wait, is he? I can't see. No, that's someone else, I think.
That's the one else. Wow.
Yeah, that's someone else. He's just staring into my soul. It's creeping me out.
Yes,
He just turned.
People in this game.
Yeah, people are
I
strange.
tell you, you don't know if this is like a 50-year-old man or if this is just someone that's trying to mess around.
Well, I think that's a good point. And I think, yeah, when you're playing multiplayer games, you've got to be a little bit careful who you choose to play with, right?
No, because it's just funny because he's trying to be with us. Like he's he's just walking off like we're weird people.
Yes.
Wait, it's the same guy, but he just doesn't have glasses.
Ah, there you go.
He took his glasses off. It's the same guy.
Funny. Okay, cool. So I guess like, what's next for you with the game? Like, what you're thinking you want to kind of get to do first, or like what are your kind of initial like goals and objectives?
Maybe to get like the third ship that's possible to buy.
Okay, well,
Probably.
yeah. So I think this is the thing. So obviously I did this kind of like beginner tutorial series, right? And the idea is kind of get people in just playing the game, and
I'm pretty sure I can get more. I'm pretty sure I can get a ship because like a few days ago, remember when we finished that mission? It gave me like 1.2 million credits. Like we were killing them people that told me.
Yeah, we did a bit of bounty hunting, didn't we, as a
It
team?
told me I got 800,000 credits.
Yeah, so I think as a beginner, like what you need to be doing is you need to be like doing stuff and earning. Basically, you need to earn credits, right? To because I think you're right. You want to kind of move into like your next ship kind of quite quickly, because Other ships have more capabilities, so the more capabilities you have, like the more money you can earn, and then you can start going through things like, for example, you could start like going through the ranks. So you could choose like to go through the Federation ranks. So what you would do is you go and do like a load of missions with the Federation, and then you would start ranking up with them. And as you start ranking up, you get more kind of like, I guess, more difficult missions that pay higher rewards, so you get more money. But as you're ranking up, you start unlocking things like there's like Federation specific ships, but also you can unlock things like the permit that allows you to fly to Sol, which is like our solar system. So you can then fly around Earth, for example. So that's pretty cool. So there's lots of things you can kind of start to look to do. You can do the same with the Federation. Sorry, not with the Federation, with the Empire, sorry. So you can unlock Empire type specific ships, which I really like the Federation ships. I think they're really cool. So you've got all that. Yeah, and then you've got to like think about ranking up. Like you want to obviously, you can rank up in terms of trade, your trading rank, your combat rank, your exobiology rank, your exploration rank, and the idea is you want to try and get to elite in all of those as well. That's pretty cool. And if you get to elite, then that unlocks the it's the I can't remember the name of the system. Is it Shinrata Deshra, which is like the memorial for, there's a kind of historic figure called Captain Jameson. So Captain Jameson was from he's kind of like from the original Elite game, and his memorial is there. But the idea is if you get there, then I believe that you can get there's cheaper ships and cheaper modules and all that kind of stuff. So you can buy all stuff more cheaply, but I think they have every single module and every single ship available there, as an example. So you can do all that sort of stuff. So there's loads to do in the game, and then there's a thing called power play where you align yourself with the Empire, for example, and you go and do community goals and stuff for the Empire.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that, to be honest.
Point is, it's there, and then there's what they call end game content. So for example, you can once you've got enough credits, you can buy your own fleet carrier. So fleet carriers are great big ships which can house all your ships and other people's ships. And
Is it just me that seeing them two ships just sitting there?
let's transition and have a look.
Out the window.
They're sitting there on the landing pad. And I think that's probably someone who's manually taken off and hasn't quite figured out how to go forward yet. So they're just sitting. Maybe. I don't know.
No, because that person that's bobbing up and down just came in.
But yeah, there's the point is there's loads of things you could be aiming to do. And the other thing about the sort of end game content then is, talked about fleet carriers. There's this new release. You can now colonize your own system. So if a system's essentially not been claimed or owned, then you can now claim a system basically, and then you've got to obviously build your own settlement, and then you're the system architect, and then you can start to expand that system out in terms of settlement and all that kind of stuff. So you've got all that to kind of aim for as well. So there's loads of stuff going on, and then later on this year there's a load of new ships being released, and they've got some new features being released. So they've got a thing called Vanguards, which is kind of like a guild system for Elite Dangerous. So you can kind of operate a guild, and then that's going to make sharing stuff more sort of easier basically. You can share the experience a bit more. So I think this is going to be. I think it's a really interesting time for you to start playing the game. I think that's pretty cool. In terms of your friends, do you think this sort of thing would appeal to your friends, or do you think they're not going to be interested?
No, they'd probably not be interested.
Do you think you're the first to kind of experience this amongst your kind of friendship group?
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Fair enough. Okay, well look, I think we can sort of probably finish it there. I just want to say thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule on a Saturday to talk about this sort of stuff.
What, getting out of bed, then just sitting at my computer all day?
Exactly. So look, I mean, obviously in terms of the channel, would you be interested in maybe sort of joining me on the odd occasion, doing some videos together on maybe some of the multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, but I probably yeah.
Probably, yeah. That's a vote of confidence, isn't it?
I might record some videos on my channel.
Well, that's
of
fine.
anything.
You should do that. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look.
Oh, I do that. That's like what I do, but still.
Oh, well, look. Now, thank you for having a quick chat though. That was really helpful. I think for other people, one of the reasons behind doing this was that I've noticed that Elite's mainly played by people who, of a certain age group. I mean, you're sort of like talking like 25 to sort of like 60, right? That's what the demographics show, and so I find it quite interesting to see somebody who's not in that demographic starting to play the game, and it's interesting to hear their kind of thoughts on it. So thank you for joining me. Obviously we'll do something. We'll do something in the next week or so, possibly together. But yeah, go and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thank you, Benny.
I'm probably just gonna sit there at a training session.
I'm going to edit this video down and make it presentable. I will show you it before I publish it, okay? So you do have an option to sort of, if you don't like it. So talking with him brought back a lot of memories. Those first few nerve-wracking, awe-inspiring moments when space felt endless and full of possibilities. It reminded me that Elite Dangerous isn't just a game that we play. It's a shared experience that spans generations and brings people together across the stars. If you've been a commander for a while, then I hope this video helped you remember your own first steps into the black. And if you're just getting started, well, welcome aboard. Your story is only just beginning. So thanks for being part of this special moment with us. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, subscribing and sharing your own first Elite Dangerous memories in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Until next time, fly safe, Commanders.